Every now and then, there's a weapon that slips through the cracks. Maybe when it dropped, you just weren't into that kind of gun, or you didn't want to do the quest. Maybe you were playing with a different game at the time or at that week, and then you just felt like you missed the moment, and you didn't feel like playing catch-up after that. Or maybe you were just really into a different gun at the time, and you had like a whole build around it, so that's where your focus was. But for whatever reason, you just decided, hey, this weapon is something I'll get around to eventually. Well, the Symmetry was that weapon for me. I remember when this thing first came out, it was the beginning of a new season, and I took it for a brief spin, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was neat, but then I quickly set it aside and pursued other weapons, because you got to remember, Symmetry, do you remember what season Symmetry came out? Symmetry came out as the season pass weapon for Season of Dawn. Now, Dawn was a nutty season. We got the sundial and all these crazy weapons to chase. I mean, I was not at all interested in Symmetry when I was out there chasing after a god-rolled breach light. You know, I wanted to try the gallant charge, and I was working on my perfect paradox quest. The Jack Queen King was back in the pool with random rolls. The Patron of Lost Causes was an awesome new scout rifle. The Buzzard had just dropped, and I was a sidearm junkie. I mean, Symmetry got completely swallowed up in this enormous wave of new and returning weapons, and I didn't even give the gun a second thought. Well, here I am, you know, nearly 2 years later, because that would have been, December of 2019? So, almost 2 years later, here I am this morning looking at my vault, and I'm thinking, what do I want to use today, you know? And Symmetry was just sitting there, and I figured out, what the heck? I'll take it for a spin, and I'll put it down if I get bored. Well, 5 hours later, and 2 undefeateds later, and after 5 we ran out of medals and 5 ghosts in the night, I was like, okay, dang, I gotta make a video on this thing now. So here we are. This here is the Symmetry exotic scout rifle from Season of Dawn, and I gotta say, even though we lost some of the best scout rifle maps in the game to the content vault, you know, maps like Equinox, Meltdown, Eternity, even Solitude, even though we lost those maps, this scout rifle can really shine this season. A part of it, no doubt, is all the nerfs that, you know, shotguns and 120s got, leaving scouts at least some room to breathe now. But I was genuinely blown away. It's a rapid fire frame scout. It's a 260 RPM, like, you know, Trusty or the Servant Leader. Those are 2 popular scout rifles in that family, so you can put it into perspective there. But the difference is the exotic perk. This baby stacks up charges of dynamic charge for every headshot that you hit, up to 20 stacks if you have the catalyst. Which I did not, by the way. I did not. I had to complete the catalyst in PvP today, so I got that done after, I don't know, maybe about an hour and some change. Got that knocked out, and then the rest of it I was able to play with the catalyst unlocked. Several hundred kills with it. But then you can, after you've got these stacks of dynamic charge, you can switch to an alternate firing mode called Revolution. And when in this firing mode, you shoot arc seekers that track targets. And these seekers, they do extra damage for every stack of dynamic charge that you've accumulated. And anytime you have 7 or more stacks, you're going to be 2-shotting any standard Guardian. This is also, as I found, extremely good for shutting down supers. I've included a few super shutdowns in this gameplay, but it's so nice when you have those stacks up, because a lot of these supers are really hard to track because of their movement. Strikers are lunging randomly in various directions, or putting up ice walls. The behemoth putting up ice walls as he's attacking. Dawnblades are dashing everywhere. Arc Striders are cartwheeling like freaking kitty cats everywhere. I don't know why I said that. I've never seen a cat cartwheel. But anyways, these Arc Seekers, though, they do not care. They just hip fire in their general direction, and they'll do all the work and do extra damage. It's really not that hard to have enough stacks up to 4-tap roaming supers with ease. It was, honestly, it was stupid amounts of fun. These Arc Seekers, I'm gonna be real with you, they're a little nuts. I could just recklessly jump at people and pull the trigger twice without really aiming like whatsoever, and they just delete people. It had to be super annoying to play against, no joke. And the range on these things, you can literally lane with them. And on top of that, sometimes these Seekers, they bend around cover. They do damage through solid objects. It's kind of nuts. There were several times they killed someone, and I was like, okay, that had no business killing that man. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's OP or in need of a nerf, but some of these Arc Seeker kills were just ridiculous. So, but there is bad news, as with all things. There's balance, right? There's the good and the bad. Here's the bad news. Symmetry is cursed, simply for being what it is. Symmetry, as I noted, is a rapid-fire frame scout. That means it has one of the worst TTKs of all primary weapon types in Destiny 2. Rapid fires are in this tricky spot. They have a really long TTK. It's just under a second. It's like 0.93, I think, seconds, which puts it up there with some of the worst TTKs for primary weapons in the game. There's only one weapon type that kills slower at 1 second flat. And that's, I think, what is that, adaptive? The 180 scouts? 180 scouts are really, really bad. But anyways, all this to say, they got one of the worst TTKs in the game for primary weapons. It's funny how the line between busted and useless is often really freaking thin. Like, I do not envy the Sandbox team, because so many things are just constantly teetering between worthless and absolutely broken. And finding the balance between those two is really, really, it's like balancing a toothpick on the tip of your finger. Like, you push it any direction, it's just going to tumble over. It's got to be really, really hard. But that's not to mean they can't be great dueling weapons. You just have to be really conscious of their weaknesses, and you have to play your range really well. Like, try to stay just barely out of 3-tap range for a hand cannon, and you're good. You're good in gravy, because a 140 hand cannon, if it has to go in for a 4th shot, you're shooting faster than that, right? You're shooting at 260 RPMs. So you can get your 5-tap in before they can get a 4-tap with the 140, if that makes sense. So I recommend that you take this thing for a spin again. Its potential in 6s is pretty unreal. It can do some really, really tricky things, and no one expects it. Like, they really don't. No one's out there thinking, hey, I better look out for that symmetry. Those symmetry tracking shots. I've heard this guy shooting, and I bet he's about 6 stacks. Nobody's out there mentally preparing for an engagement with a symmetry with the Arc Seekers up. You know what I mean? But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little throwback video. Checking out an old exotic that I never really gave too much of a chance. So maybe this will inspire you to do a little digging, take this for a ride, or maybe even a different weapon that you never took too much time to experiment with. So I appreciate you for watching the video. Feel free to leave a like on it, only if you think that I earned it. I appreciate some of you did do the thing that I asked in my previous video, the primary challenge, and a lot of you actually tagged me on Twitter with photos, screenshots of your matches, racking up tons of primary kills, and I love seeing those. Even if if I didn't respond to it, I think I at least liked every single one I was tagged in. But some of them tagged me on those in the middle of the night. So when I wake up, I've got like 6 or 7 of them. The kids are like, I want breakfast. And I'm like, hold on, let me like these tweets, kid. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyways, had a lot of fun combing through some of those responses. And also big shout out, big thank you to any of you guys who are members on the channel. If you've opted in to financially support me and my family, I genuinely appreciate that. It's really fun, actually. We were able to, because of the way that YouTube does their whole paid subscription thing, it's similar to Twitch in the sense that it has, like, tiered subs. But on YouTube, they don't, like, Twitch is like, hey, we're gonna take half your revenue. You know what I mean? YouTube's like, nah, that's your revenue. We'll take 25% because we provide the platform, but 75% of it, 3/4 of it is yours. So what I was able to do, and they say you can customize it. Like, you set your own price points. That's your business, not ours. I could set my memberships at $200 a pop if I wanted to, which I wouldn't. But I did it. The base level, the base tier of membership is only $3 because I figured that way it saves you money, as opposed to a Twitch sub, which is $5. You can become a member here for $3. But I make the same amount, roughly, off that $3 sub as I would a $5 sub on Twitch. So it seems like a win-win. You pay less, I make the same amount of money, and Twitch doesn't make anything. So there you go. So thank you so much if you're one of the channel members helping to keep the dream alive. I freaking appreciate you. So, all right. Let me know what weapons you'd love to see me play around with. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the Crucible.
is wonderful! 2 for 1. Double down.